and welcome back to the channel. Now earlier this year I was sent the Cyrusher Rumble 1 to have a play with, to see what I think, and that was a beast of a bike. And here it is here, lovely looking bike. Now I've been lucky enough to have been sent the Cyrusher Rumble 2. There's a few changes to that bike and you can see it here. Now one of the changes that I like is that substantial rack on the back. Now on the Cyrusher Rumble 1 it was actually bolted onto the back of the bike. Now on the Cyrusher Rumble 2 the rack is actually part of the frame, and I always like to have a bag and panniers on the back of the bike, and it's no exception with this bike, as you'll see here, which is handy for all my cameras and everything. Anyway, there's a few different things with this bike, one of them being the fact that it's a torque sensor, and on the one it was a cadence sensor, and that makes a difference. There is no throttle on this bike, but it doesn't need it. It's, you know, the torque sensor is so responsive, as you will see during this video. Also, the controller for the bike was underneath the battery on the Cyrusher Rumble 2. It's now inside the actual frame of the bike. Anyway, so what I've got to do is get it unpacked and get it all assembled, and then we'll go out and see what we think of the Cyrusher Rumble 2. So the first thing I do, as usual, is to cut all of the straps from around the box, and then of course I'm going to remove the straps from around the box, and then what I like to do is to cut up the front corners of the box just like this, and then the front of the box drops down just like that. And then I'll remove all of the packaging, and there will be a lot of it. Now you need to take your time when you're doing this, because you definitely don't want to cut any cables or scratch any of the paintwork. And there we are, going to remove that wheel ready for installation. Just a couple more bits to cut, and then you'll have a nice big pile of rubbish just like that. Now there's normally a small box inside the big box, and let's take a look inside. So first we've got the Allen keys. Now I remember these are the same that were with the first Cyrusher Rumble, and they're really good. And then we've got a little pump. Okay, it's a pump, it's nothing special, but it's good enough to get you started. And then next we've got a spanner. I remember that from the first one as well, nice quality spanner, and that's for the pedals and for the wheel, the front wheel. And then we have got the pedals here. Now they're metal pedals, they don't fold. Obviously they don't need to. And then inside this box there's this other box, and I'd imagine what we've got here is the charging block. So if I can get it open, yeah, there we go. And it does have a UK plug by the look of it, which is always handy. Yes, it does. And then we've got the charging block, and it's quite a size one with this, as I remember it was with the first one. So there you go, that's the charging block. And I say it's got a UK plug, so best thing to do is get that in and working. And then we've got the instruction manual. Now it's a nice colour one with this one, and I didn't pay much attention to it because obviously I've done it before, but if you need the information, well, it's there, all you need inside that book. So now let's start the assembly. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to lift the handlebar stem, but before I clamp it into position I need to open the clamp like that, and then push it into place and lift that clamp up again and clamp it tight just like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is to remove this top bracket at the top of the handlebar stem, and to do that we use one of the Allen keys provided and remove all four of them. And then once you've done that, I have speeded this up obviously, but you need to hang on to them and to the bracket because you'll be putting it back on in just a little while. So now we're going to lift the handlebars up into place. Now they are already connected to the bike with the cables and things. So you just lift it up and put it into that bottom bracket there, as you can see I'm doing there. And then get that bracket back that you took off with the 4 Allen bolts. Now to make it a bit more easy with access, that above that bracket is the little screen, the control screen. That does move, so you can get in there to get those bolts fitted. So as you can see I'm doing there. And then again with the Allen key provided, you want to get that done up nice and tight because you definitely don't want that moving while you're riding it. And then next we're going to fit the front wheel. Now before that we have to remove this threaded bar that's at the bottom of the forks. Now all the manufacturers do this to protect the forks while the bike's in transit. Now using the spanner that's provided, you just need to loosen them off, as you can see I was doing there. And then once you've got it loosened off, as you can see I was doing there, you should just be able to pop it out like that. And then you want to remove this little plastic sleeve that's between the brake pads before you install the front wheel. Now next I'm going to remove this nut and bolt that you can see there on the front forks, and that's the front light that's been put on back to front just to protect the light while it's in transit. Now I have installed the front wheel, and it's quite simple. You just lift the bike and just pop the forks above the axle, as you can see I've done there, and put it into place. And you can see the little lugs on those washers. Obviously there's one each side. Now those washers with the lugs on them locate into pre-drilled holes on the forks. And then you can see I've done the hand tight, and then I get that nice spanner and get them as tight as you can. So now we can reinstall that front light. So what you do is you bring it to the front of the fork, and you're going to fit it along with the front mudguard. Now it is a little bit fiddly, but if you just take your time you'll get it done. And again, just get that Allen bolt and the nut on the back of it done up hand tight, and then with one of the Allen keys that's provided, just get it nice and tight and line that light up. Obviously you can adjust it later. And then next we need to fit the side braces on those mudguards. Now there's one on each side, and the first thing you need to do is to remove those pre-installed nuts. And like I said, there's one of those on each side of the bike. And then thread the bolt through the hole that's there, and then relocate it into that bracket there. And then tighten them up, and we're almost ready to go. But first we need to fit the pedals, and you see me pointing there to the R on there. That's the right hand side of the bike, and there's an R on the pedal as well. Obviously it'll be L on the left hand side. Now being the right hand side of the bike, this is a right hand thread. That's clockwise as normal. On the left hand side of the bike it'll be a left hand thread. That's anti-clockwise. So we'll do them up nice and tight, and then we'll go and have some fun. So here I am, first time out on this Cyrusher Rumble 2. Now the one thing I remember about the Cyrusher, the original one I did, it was the first bike to get me to appreciate this upright riding position. I wasn't keen prior to that with handlebars that were much higher than the seat, because all of my life I've ridden bikes where they were virtually level. And it is very nice, and this is no exception. Now the good thing about this bike is, out of the box, everything works perfectly. Everything. The only little bit of criticism I would have is that the saddle is definitely not as comfortable as it was on the original Cyrusher, but of course, you know, I've got a spare saddle, I can change that. But yeah, riding wise, you know, these are fantastic bikes. I knew it would be. Anyway, let's get to the park and test that pedal assist. Right, so I'm back in the park where I love to bring the bikes. You'll have to excuse any sniffles. Got a bit of a cold, unfortunately. Anyway, so this bike has 5 levels. So this bike has 5 levels of pedal assist. So we'll try them out in a moment. It also has a torque sensor, and it works exceptionally well. There's no throttle on this bike, but really don't need it. Now at the moment I'm in pedal assist 1, which is nice, and that's around about 8 miles an hour on this one. Oh, I'm not used to seeing the park in this condition. It's pretty wet everywhere. Of course, we're well into autumn now. If you watch my videos, or the reviews on the bikes, you will have seen this place many times. It's so beautiful in the summer, and it's slightly disappointing in autumn. Lovely colours at the start of autumn, but then when everything gets a bit damp and you know, and all the leaves, I mean, it's still not too bad actually. As you can see, that willow tree is still looking splendid. Right, so I'm in pedal assist 1. There's not too many people around, so I should be okay. So I'll take it now. That's about 9 miles an hour. Pedal assist 2, there we go. And let's see what we get out of that. So in pedal assist 2, we've got around about 11 miles an hour. Up to pedal assist 3. And what's that giving us? I've just got to slow down slightly here. Let me just get around this corner. Over the railway track. The train won't be running now, unfortunately, but there we go. So pedal assist 3, yeah, it's really responsive, this is, you know, on those pedals, because unlike the cadence sensor, you know, you put it on this one and it gives back. And that's about 12 miles an hour in pedal assist 3, up to pedal assist 4. Wow. And we've got 14 miles an hour with that. And then if I put it into 5 there, up it goes, 15.5 miles an hour. Now I've got to slow down because we've got to cross a little bit of a bumpy area. The brakes on it are very good. They are hydraulic brakes on this, so it does perform exceptionally well. There you go. All right. So yes, as I said, the hydraulic brakes on this bike, and they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect. As I said earlier on, straight out of the box and assembled this, and I haven't had to adjust, have a concern about anything. It's absolutely perfect. Now there are a couple of upgrades on this Cyrusher Rumble 2, and we'll take a look at those when I have a walk around the bike. Hope that front camera's okay. It's a bit bumpy here. Now this has got the big 4-inch by 20-inch tyres, so it's no problem, you know, with anything that'll be up here, mud, leaves, everything should be fine. And here we are going on the boardwalk over the lake, which is always a nice ride. In fact, round the lake here is a lovely ride. Now what I'm going to do is, obviously at the end of my reviews I always go up the steep hill, the one that's not too far from here, but also in the park I like to just try it out first of all on a hill. It's not a really steep hill, but it is a hill. So what I'm going to do is just loosen it up a bit. We'll have a nice little ride around here, and then we'll attempt that hill. Now I'm going to bring it down to pedal assist 2, and as I said, that's about 9 miles an hour. Now along a track like this one, that's absolutely perfect. But if you want some speed, well, up to 15.5 miles an hour anyway, you know, it's more or less instant. Every time you touch that button on this, it really is very responsive. Right, so I've come all the way around the lake, and it's been performing beautifully, as I would have expected. But as I said, I usually like to try the slight hill there is here. Now what I'm going to do with this one, as I said, it's a torque sensor. I'm going to get just before the start of the hill. I've got no throttle on this bike, and then I'm going to pull away in level 1 and slowly build up and see how it copes. I'd rather try that here than at the bottom of that steep hill. Excuse me. Right, so it's not far now, and then I'm going to stop and we'll give it a try and see how it manages. So here we are at the bottom of that hill that I was talking about. Now, as I said, there's no throttle on this bike, so I've got it in pedal assist level 1, and I'm going to move away, and there it is instantly. That's the good thing with the torque sensors, and obviously you need it, especially when there's no throttle. So that's level 1, and it's coping really well with that. We'll pop it up into level 2 and see how that performs. Right, somebody just passing me there. Excuse me. Right, just feeling it there, so I'm going to go into level 3, and I can feel that. Yes, that's pushing and helping me there. Up to level 4. Oh yes, wow. Look at that. And then into level 5. Ooh. Fantastic. That really is fantastic. Let's just pop it down again. Right, we've got some people here, so I'll just have to slow up. Anyway, that was just as I expected it would be. Quite busy today, as it happens. The park is wonderful. It's not open at the moment. I think it only opens for special occasions, you know, once you start moving later into the year. But anyway, as I was saying, that I had no doubts in my mind, but that was at the bottom of that hill. Okay, not an extremely steep one, but I had no throttle to assist. Once I started pedaling, that torque sensor kicked in immediately, and then I was able to go through the different levels of pedal assist. So I'm going to bring it back down to level 1, just have a little cruise along here. So many people, you just get some strange looks when you're talking to yourself. Now it does have a nice little hooter, but you know, some of them are a bit too loud. That one's sort of verging on the very loud, but even so it does alert people, you know, that you're coming. So far this bike is exactly as I imagined it would be. It's just a joy to ride it. It really is. This riding position that I mentioned I was never that keen on before, if you've never tried it, try it. Where you're sitting upright, the handlebars are higher than the actual saddle, and you just feel as if you're sitting upright more or less like in a normal chair. Well, this one is really good. I knew it would be because I did the original Cyrusher Rumble. And to all intents and purposes, this does feel exactly the same as that from what I can remember. It was about 6 months ago, but it does feel more or less the same. Right, well, it's a little bit gloomy today, unfortunately. But anyway, I've got my trusty piece of paper, as I always say, so let's have a good look around the bike. Now, the technical specifications, the battery, it's a 48 volt 18 amp hour battery, and there it is just at the back of the seat post frame. It has a switch just there for on and off, and 3 keys come with it to be able to lock it in position. It's also got a little bit you can press there and you can see what's left in the battery. The charging time for that battery is 6 to 7 hours. The speed of this bike is 25 kilometers or 15.5 miles an hour, which obviously is legal here in the UK. It has 5 levels of pedal assist, and really good they are too. Range is up to about 58 miles or 94 kilometers. The motor is a 48 volt, 250 watt, 85 Newton meter brushless rear hub motor, and that's in there. And the payload capacity is 350 pounds. Now, mechanical, the tyres are 20 inch by 4 inch, real chunky tyres on this one, as you can see there. And the display is a 3.5 inch LCD display, and it is colour. The brakes, it's got fully hydraulic brakes, front and rear. We'll just move around here so you can see them. There's the disc there, and obviously the disc there, and the gubbins. The chain is a KMC stainless chain on there. Transmission, it's Shimano, and it's 7 speed, as you can see there, with the up and the down levers. The front suspension is oil and spring suspension fork with adjustment, and there you can open it and lock it just there. Are there any other adjustments on it? Yes, there are. The frame is aluminium alloy, and the kickstand is an aluminium alloy as well. Quite a chunky one on this bike, but then again it does need to be just there. The rims, they're alloy rims. The saddle's breathable ergonomic sport cushion seat. Not the most comfortable of seats, I must admit. And it's got a torque sensor, and it's got lights front and rear. So we've got the front light on here and the rear light at the back here, just in there, and that is also a brake light. So that's it. That's the Cyrusher Rumble 2, and it's a lovely looking bike, I think you'll agree. So I've been riding it around the park and it's been really enjoyable. The bike does everything you ask it to, and I'm pretty sure you could take this bike anywhere. I do have a history with the Cyrusher Rumble. I did do a review on the first one, and I was really impressed with that. Now this is so impressive. I mean, it's exceptional, this bike. I love the way it came out of the box, set up for miles, not kilometers. Everything on it works absolutely lovely. The gearing on it is really good. You'd expect that because they're Shimanos. Now, I rarely go to the upper or lower levels of the gears. When there's a torque sensor, I normally sit sort of in the middle, about level 3, gear 3 or gear 4. I'll start that again. Either gear 3 or gear 4. And that's what I'll be doing today. Now, I'm going to leave the park and go to the big hill and test it there. I have to be honest, I'm sure you'll want to see that with this, but I know it's going to cope no problems. There are 5 levels of pedal assist, as I said, and whether I need to go up and use all 5, we'll find out. But as I said, the gearing on this is good, the brakes are good, the pedal assist is good, everything is good, just as I would have expected with this bike. Right, so I'm just down the bottom end of the park. It is looking very autumnal now, but it is a beautiful park. As I said, I love coming up here, particularly to try, some of the bikes out. I don't bring them all here. If I can get the bike in the van, then I will go somewhere else with it. Typically Pittsford Water or something. Anyway, this was Wicksteed's Park again. It's a beautiful park. We're so lucky to have it in our local area. So I'm just coming out of the gate at the bottom of the park here. It's a bit tight with these wide handlebars and the mirror on it. As I've said in reviews before, I do love to have a mirror just there, and this was one of the rare ones that you don't have to drill the rubber out at the end. It has little stoppers at the end of the handlebars, just pops out and the mirror went in perfectly. And they are popular, so again, if anybody that watches this wants to know where the mirrors come from, just let me know and I'll leave a link in the description. But just let me know in the comments and I'll let you know where I got them from. Right, so I'm at the lower part of the hill. I'm in gear number 4. That's it. I'm going to leave it in number 4, gear 4, to the top. I'm in pedal assist 2 at the moment, and obviously it's going to cope nicely. Now this is a torque sensor, as I've already said, and unlike the cadence sensor, you know, you have got to pedal, you give a bit and it gives back, and the tougher it gets, for example on a tough hill, you may well have to use those gears and go up through the pedal assist, but you do have to keep giving, which is what I like about the torque sensors, because I do like to keep fit. Anyway, we'll be coming up to a junction in a minute. We'll cross that piece of road, and then it does start to get a bit steeper. Excuse me. Sorry about the snivels, as I said. Yeah, so up ahead, I don't know if you can see that, there's the junction. So we'll get across that junction, and then just once we get past those traffic lights, we get the steepest part of the hill. As I said, I'm in pedal assist level 2, and I'm in 4th gear. And I'm going to try to get up the hill, leaving it in 4th gear, which is what I would normally do. Only if it got extremely tough would I consider going through the gears, but that's what they're there for. Okay. Right, so we get across here straight away. Yes, we can. And around here, this is normally a really busy junction, but I've been lucky there, so we can make a start now. So I'm at the bottom of the hill. Not so sure if you can see that, but that's the bottom of the hill. So I'm in pedal assist 2. So I'm going to pop it up to level 3, and there you go. Exceptional, the pedal assist on this bike. Now I do feel at the moment, I'm leaving it in 4th gear, but I do feel as if I'm going to have to go through that pedal assist a bit. I'm going to give it some more to level 4. Even on this hill, look at that pulling and wag. That is fantastic. Now to me, that's all I need to do. 4th gear, pedal assist 4 on a pretty steep hill, and this bike, there's no problem. Just remember with the torque sensor, don't stop pedaling. So there we go, nearly to the top. And as I always say, I'm not panting or anything. Yeah, really good. Although that is exactly what I expected from this bike after doing a review on the original Cyrusher Rumble. So what I'm going to do now is cross this road at the top of the hill. I really should blow my nose. Sorry about this. What I normally do is there's a new build up here, and it's got a wonderful wide cycle track. I may use that or use the road, but let's put it through its paces. I'll tell you what, we'll go on the road and we'll put it through its paces right up to pedal assist 5, and we'll check out again the speeds on the different levels of pedal assist. So I'm just coming up to some more traffic lights, just check my mirror. All's good behind, so if I can get across here, that would be fantastic. Can I? There we go. A little bit naughty again, Paul. So here we go. Let's drop it back down to pedal assist 1. In fact, we'll go to pedal assist 0. So I've got no assistance whatsoever. And even this big chunky bike, it's pretty easy pedaling it on the level. So if you do get stuck, you are going to be able to ride a bit, you know, not up hills, but you'll be able to ride a bit and not have to push it the whole way. Right, so I'm going to move out onto the road just here, in case there are any pedestrians. And what I'll do is I'll pop it up to pedal assist 1. Now it doesn't matter how hard I push at the moment, it's restricting me at 10 miles an hour. So I'm going to go up to 2. There we are, and it doesn't matter how much I push again, it will not go past that 12. Pedal assist 3, where is it? Pedal assist 3, there we go, that's up to the 14 miles an hour, and it will not let me push past that. Excuse me. And then pedal assist 5. And there we are, 15 miles an hour. Now this thing, I'm sure, would want to go a lot faster. Let me just turn it off. I'll turn it off there. Okay, and there is still a bit of friction. Right, one thing I just did notice going down the hill is exactly what it can do. Now there wasn't any friction. The way to do this, obviously while it's in pedal assist, it has to stay at the legal limit. But I noticed on this hill, so I've come back up to do it again just to show you. If you get a good speed up like this, and then take it out of pedal assist down to 0, like that, and I'm sure you can see that there, that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25 miles an hour there. I hope you could hear that because of that wind, but anyway, I just thought I'd show you that so you know what it's capable of at 0 pedal assist with the wind behind and on a hill. So there you go, that was the Cyrusher Rumble 2. Now I had no doubt that that bike was going to perform really well after using the first one. As I said, there are a few changes to the bike, and for me that rack is probably the best rack on any bike I've used. It is so tough, so strong. The torque sensor does make a difference as well. As I said, there's no throttle on this bike, but it really doesn't need it. That torque sensor is so responsive, as you would have seen in the video. I really enjoyed it. I've got nothing to fault with that bike. If I remember right, I had nothing to fault with the first one. So whatever they've done has only made it better. Oh, and the other thing I should mention is it does come in a couple of different colours. I can't remember exactly what they are. If you go to the website, I'm sure you'll be able to find that out. Anyway, thank you to Felix at Cyrusher for sending the bike to me. And if you found it useful, why don't you consider a thumbs up? If you really found it useful, why don't you consider subscribing and maybe a comment? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. We're Paul and Suzanne, and we'd love you to join us on our days out.